Okay guys, we're here for TMW Off-Road today, showing you how to install the TMW doors on your Pro R4. We're going to remove the hinges, remove these gold bolts here and here. You get those with the big impact. Our main goal here is just to get the factory latch and handle out of this door frame. A T40 Torx and a 10mm to remove the hardware that holds this skin to the door frame. So we're setting the door frame on top of the skin. We're going to line up the holes with the door frame, and you can see where the door frame doesn't quite touch the door skin in certain areas. So we're going to mark those areas with tape to kind of help us decide where we want the foam tape and where we don't. So we're done marking the door skin for the foam tape. You can see we've already done the foam taping here, but we use the tape to mark the end of the tape. We use the masking tape to mark the end of the tape here where the frame lifts up. Along the top edge, we just run it all the way across, 1/8 of an inch down. You're good to go. You'll see this kit XP Pro 2 door. There's going to be 2 of these in each kit, and use one of them for the front doors and one for the rear. It doesn't matter which one you use, they both have the same hardware. But in that kit you're going to get new bolts for your hinges. You're going to get the washers and nuts for your hinges. You're going to get these stainless button head 1/4 inch bolts for the door skins. You're going to get these washers, and we'll talk about those later, but those help us level the rear panel. These are all your Delrin hinge spacers. Makes your door quiet and smooth. Here we have some little rubber stoppers that go on the bottom of the rear door to help us get rid of some vibration and adjust the rear door. This little guy right here holds the there's a little rubber piece, and we forgot to talk about that when we were removing the rear door latch. This rubber piece comes out of the rear door latch, and we will reuse that, and it's sandwiched between these 2 guys in the new door frame. And then these are shims. Sometimes we need them, sometimes we don't, depending on how rough the panels are on the car, if car's been rolled over or just the plastics are kind of deformed and we need to level the doors to make things work good. This is one of the newer upgrades to our doors, is a new set of hinge mounts that bolt onto the factory frame. Gives us a little bit more adjustability. So if you're having problems with the TMW set of Pro R doors or Pro XP doors and you want those hinges, contact us and we'll get those to you if they didn't come in your original set of doors. It will help you align things and make things work better. We're using the factory hardware to reinstall the factory latch into the TMW door frame. Use your Torx T30. Alright, so you can see we got all our 1/4-20 bolts tightened up. We used a 7/16 socket and a 5/32 Allen to tighten up all the door skin bolts. You can see we've got our hinges in place. Check out the orientation of these hinges. Just look at that for a second, so as you put yours on you can understand. Sometimes that can be a little bit confusing. As I walk over here, I want you to look at this bolt. This bolt needs to come in from the top side. So if you've already installed your skin, you will have to remove these 3 top bolts to slide that bolt in from the top side. That way it gives it enough clearance without hitting the skin and pushing on the skin really strangely. But now the door frame is ready to be installed onto the car. We're ready to put this first door frame on and get the other 3 ready. Okay, when you install the doors, get someone else to help you hold things. If you can have someone help you hold the door. In our upper hinge mount, there is a little nut plate because you can't really get to the nuts on the backside, so we provide a little threaded nut plate for the bolts to thread into. Again, using your factory hardware to bolt this door back in place. So have someone help you at least get the bolts started, top and bottom. Keep things a little bit loose so you can adjust it and get everything latching. Get too crazy with the adjustments just yet, because once we get the back door on, it could be too close to the back door, it could be hitting the back door, so we want to make sure we get the back door in place, and then we'll adjust everything. We installed the factory rear latch with the factory hardware. You can see our little shims in there that hold that rubber stopper in there to keep the door nice and quiet. And remember, this is the latch from the driver's side door on the passenger rear door. Alright, we got our rear door frame ready to be installed. All the door skin bolts are installed. Check the orientation on the hinges. It's the same as the front doors. The bigger bracket up top, aiming backwards. Smaller bracket on the bottom, aiming forward. We did have some issue on some of our original door frames. There's a bolt right here in the front of this door bag that secures the bag to that area right there. And some of our first ones did not have that hole. So if your doors don't have that hole right there to secure your door bag, you will need to drill that with a 1/4-20. Sorry about that. We added the door bags after the doors were created, and that was something that we missed. Same thing again on the back door. Get someone to help you hold it up in position. Get your bolts started. Remember, before you start slamming doors, make sure you have clearance on your back plastic and on your front door so you don't damage any plastic or door skins. We got our doors hung. Last and most important step is to adjust these things so that they open and close and function properly. We got the door latching pretty good on the back. The front one we do need to slide back a little bit, and Mike is going to show us how to loosen that and slide it back. So you got those 4 bolts. Loosen them up just a little bit, enough to get the door to move. So once he's got it on the striker, he's just pulling it back just a little bit, enough to create the gap he needs in the front fender, so it's not just destroying that front fender up there. And he's going to snug up a couple of them, check the door, swing it open and check it and see how that works. So you can play with that a little bit, get the door latching as nice as possible. Okay guys, so you can see here's the two bolts for each door hinge. Sometimes when you want to level that panel, you want to push the bottom of the door out. These little washers that we provide will slide right behind this. You can loosen it up, drop those in without even taking the hinge completely apart, and it'll give you a little bit of space. Push the bottom of the door out. You can do the same thing up here on the top of the door. You can slide that up in there and push the top of the door out if you want to level the panels. But for the most part, the way they come, you don't have to mess with that. They look good, they work good, they fit good. But every once in a while we get a car that's wrecked, rolled over, we need to create some space, and so we offer those spacers that make that possible for you. The Pro R doors, there's this tab in the rear, bottom of the rear door. So we have this little stopper that you install, and that contacts the plastic here and keeps the bottom of the door from moving excessively. Typically we make that as short as possible so it doesn't push the bottom of the door out too far. And so you can see we've kind of run that all the way up against the rubber and made it as short as possible. And just makes it so bottom of the door is solid. You can use those shims on the bottom of the hinge if you need to bring the bottom of the front door out once you install that rubber stopper. Most of the time it's fine without them. So like I say, the biggest problems we run into is this rear fender. Either this tab being bent out of shape, the bottom tab that holds it, or this upper. A lot of times you get guys building these cages and they put these tabs on to hold the upper part of the fender, and they might pull it in a lot further than the factory position, or they might push it out further than the factory position. So all of that factors into your body lines when you're trying to line up your door. And so you might have to put a couple washers like we did here. You can kind of see, you might have to put a couple washers in that tab to push the fender out. And the main thing you want to make sure is when you open the rear door like this, that the fender tucks in without clipping the rear fender, top and bottom, so you have clearance all the way across. Once you get that happening, you want to make sure when you open your front door, the doors don't pinch, they don't hit each other, the door opens all the way and stops without hitting the rear panel. So play with your adjustments a little bit. I don't think you'll need too many shims. They're in the kit if you want to use them to push the panels in or out. We do have washers in the kit and those rubber stoppers in the kit. Guys, thanks for choosing TMW. Hope you love these doors as much as we do. We have 3 of these Pro Rs ourselves and we love these machines. Grateful for the opportunity to build these parts for you. Thanks again for choosing TMW Off-Road.